So I really like Dragon Age. I like the video game, I like the role-playing game. And in this video, we're going to talk about both to a little bit, mainly the role-playing game, of course. So this is, of course, a much beloved game by BioWare. It is a 360 version. I know the PC version is better. But I picked this up back in the day, and I thought it was fantastic. I was big into like getting collector's editions back in those days because I thought they were just neat, especially for a game that I really knew that I was going to enjoy. And so I picked up the strategy guide and I picked up the main game. And this was cool because it's got like the soundtrack and wallpapers and stuff like that, DLC that came with it. So it was very neat. It also has like a cloth map, which is pretty neat. And it's a great game. One thing I was really struck by was how just immediately they were trying to show you this huge world, this deep, deep world that someone had worked on and obviously put a lot of thought and time into. And I really felt that. Even from like the main, like the gear you get off right in the beginning of the game, like you go and look at it, and it doesn't just say like this is a sharp sword made of steel. It gives you all this history about like the weapon and the people that use it and blah, 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 blah. Everything did that, and I was very impressed by it. I was actually kind of overwhelmed by it. So, of course, this is much beloved, and I've got the other games as well, but of course I have a, soft spot for the first game. And this was back in the time where I got strategy guides, and people say, oh, why do you get a strategy guide? So I said, well, I don't need it. I just like having something of a game that I really like, having some sort of book form of it that is, in essence, the game in book form. And this was a really good one because in the back, it's got some cool art, an interview. It's got more, it's got a lot of information on the world. And like right here, the interview with BioWare, and then some great art here in the back. And of course, you'll see a lot of this art over and over again with their products. And of course, why wouldn't you continue to use this art or reuse it and stuff? So I did that back in the day a bunch with strategy guides. I thought they were pretty cool. And this one looked really nice, So if it was a game I liked, that's what I picked up. It's good for the bathroom, if you know what I mean. So when the role-playing game was announced, they said there was going to do box sets. And I said, oh, that's cool. That's kind of like the old days. I like that, right? We like box sets. So they put out just the first to 5 level box set, set 1. And here it is. It's $30 MSRP. Now, the main thing to say here is that, unfortunately, all this stuff in print is out of print. And that sucks. Now, you can get the stuff I'm going to show you here on ttrpg, and I'll have a link down in the description if you want to pick it up. But I don't know if it'll ever be print on demand. It would be nice because, while they went with a box has a lot of problems when it comes to, shipping, making them, whatever. So I don't think we'll ever see any more Dragon Age stuff or any more of these boxes reprinted. Now, I've got some extra stuff in here, too, that I added because this was such a good box to start off showing people the game. And we're going to talk about the game, obviously. So I've got some dice in here. This is one of the special Dragon Age dice, which I can barely read this thing. That's another thing, too. I can't deal with dice that are real flowery. I can't read what I need to know what it is immediately. If I have to spin it around to look, it's not great, but it's there. And here's the dice I used for it. So we've got our 3d6, and that's what it uses. So we've got a player's guide, we've got the game master's guide, and then I picked up the first screen, which was a good screen if you want to start off with this box, but it became obsolete once the game got bigger. But it's a good screen for what it is. And it also came with a full adventure, and it's 3 panels, as you can see. And it's good. I like the low profile of it and the colors and everything like that. So there's going to be a lot of stuff all over the table here. I'm going to move that off to the side, but we'll work with it. And then this is a full adventure here, a Band Too Many, and it's very good. Nice big full adventure. And then I printed off some quick reference sheets, a rod and stuff like that. And I can't remember if this has got a map or not. Yeah, it's got a map in the back, pretty much the map of Dragon Age, character sheets and whatnot. So we're going to put that back. I'm going to talk a little bit about this player's guide here from this first box set, because here's the rub of it. There is a quick start on ttrpg if you want to check it out. It's completely free. And it'll also be I'll have it down, a link down in the description. So you can check out the game if you want. You can also pick up this as a PDF. I think it's $20 maybe. It's a little much, I think. But it is good quality, obviously. I just wish that, you know, it's $10 less for a PDF than it was for this box set, which is unfortunate. And then we'll be talking about the other stuff, which is also on there on its PDFs. So let's talk a little bit about how the system goes and kind of how my experience was with it. So I'm not going to delve too much into the Dragon Age lore. There's plenty of other videos and stuff, and it's vast, of course. This is not just some sort of throwaway fantasy setting that was created for the video game and then this role-playing game. And I think it's obviously one of the best draws. So this is a dark fantasy game. There's no fairies and unicorns and stuff like this. This is a, you know, obviously if you've played the game, you know, this is a fairly brutal world with a lot of dark stuff going on. And one of the first things is it's very well written, especially if you're new to role-playing. Maybe you've played and you haven't run anything before. It really helps you understand what's going on with the game a little bit, how you role play, and there's going to be more in the main book that really fleshes it out. So an example of play, and you're going to see a lot of that art, and then it's got, you know, your basic concepts, and a little bit of, you know, welcome to Ferelden, because that's where it's set, the map, so on and so forth, the nobility, what exactly do I know? I like that, because it's kind of like, if you give that to the player, then they can read and get kind of caught up on what's going on with Dragon Age, the Chantry, and the mages, the dwarves, the elves, and dogs, of course. And then you make your character. So when I first started reading this and playing it, I said, well, this is not too bad. This is laid out pretty well. You've got 8 ability scores: communication, constitution, cunning, dexterity, magic, perception, strength, and willpower. You roll them up with 3d6, and they have a, you know, starting ability here. And that's all well and good. And then you have focuses. So if you have a communication focus, animal handling, a focus gives you +2. So it's very easy, the game. You roll 3d6 plus what your ability is, and if you have a focus, you get +2. That's like the main rule of the game, and it's very easy, especially for new players, to understand that. They've seen a d6. You're not giving them some sort of wacky dice with a bunch of facings, and they don't know a d8 from a d10. And so you pick your background: apostate, the Avar. And so let's look at the apostate. When you pick one, it tells you, like, if you choose to play apostate modifier, it's very easy. Add 1 to your willpower ability. Pick one of the following ability focuses. Choose whether your character is human or an elf. And so, you know, take the mage class. It leads you through it. Now, you know, obviously there is kind of an old school way of just giving you the rules and you play with it, and then there's kind of this hand-holding way. And I think occasionally it's okay to have a game that hand-holds you through the game and how you play it, how you make a character, so people can understand it. It's more, you know, beginner friendly. So one thing is neat is you roll up one of these benefits if you're human or elf. So you roll 2d6 and you can get a bonus. Maybe, you know, you can get a focus of willpower, self-discipline, or +1 to dexterity, and it's different for humans. So that makes it fun to roll up a little bit to see what you're going to get. You got the Circle Mage and the City Elf, the Dalish Elf, or Dalish, I can't remember, Dalish, I think, Ferelden Freeman, and the Surface Dwarf, and I think that's what I played when I originally played Dragon Age, the game, and they do all that stuff. You've got primary abilities, secondary abilities. It tells you what to do when you gain a level, and then it goes into the mages. Now, this one thing that's very neat is it's going to lead you straight through level 1 and win level 2, of course, up to level 5. So it's very easy for new players just to see this and say, okay, I get Arcane Lance, I get Magic Training, this is how many mana points I get, and I get a starting talent. And those are, later on, they're for more adding to your character. And then at level 2, I get a new spell. Very easy. At level 3, I get a new talent. So very easy to figure out how it goes. And you only have 3 classes. You've got the Mage, the Rogue, and the Warrior. So, and the art is good. Of course, in all of the game, pretty much the art is good. And so it's the same for the Rogue and same for the Warrior. And then you have defense. Defense is going to be your defense is 10 plus dexterity plus a shield bonus. And you're trying to roll 3d6 plus your ability plus focuses to try to get over that defense. Armor takes away from damage, and that's very easy. And then you've got your speed that's added up. Dwarf and elf and humans have different speeds, and that's going to help you. It uses a yard system, so you're going to be moving on by not by foot, but by yard. And that's easy for a lot of people to understand. And so you're going to have explaining about the different focuses. You know, you get a +2 on those. You get talents. And just in the beginning, you get novice and journeyman. So you're going to choose a talent. like animal training, and you'll get the first novice ability. So they're kind of like feats, but they upgrade. They go from novice to journeyman to master, and that's going to be later on. And those are very helpful as well. And it's another thing just to try to make your character a little bit more unique within these games of feats and talents and stuff. Then you've got your weapon and gear. Let's see if I can flip through this easy. All very good. Some good armor, art. Your different weapons are different groups. They're going to roll damage. Your missile weapons by yards, and then how quickly they reload. Very easy. A lot of adventuring gear, animal statistics. And then it's going to go into magic, and they're not going to have a whole bunch of spells, but it's got a good bit. It uses mana points. Pretty much you spend mana points to cast the spell. And casting in armor puts a strain that just makes you have to use more mana points. I like that rule. It's easy. You have something called spell power. It's pretty much 10 plus your magic plus a focus if you've got it. And that's what someone has to roll to beat your spell, pretty much a resistance to your spell. So obviously, again, very beginner-friendly game. It's going to start you off with some stuff here to give you some suggestions on what type mage to pick. If you want a balanced mage, pick Arcane Bolt, Heal, and Rock Armor. If you want a Spirit Mage, pick Mind Blast, Spell Shield, and Walking Bomb. So it's a little bit of help. Some people, might not like that. They don't want to see it. You can make your own, but it's fun for new players to be able to see that. And then here's the way the spells look. Very easy. They're not a huge write-up to be difficult. And it tells you, you can make a major or 2 minors. You know how that kind of goes. Or you could do a major and a minor. And it's got the target number, so you're going to roll 3d6 and add your ability and focus possibly, and you're trying to beat that target number. And if they have a test, like here, mana drain, it's magic with the spirit focus versus spell power, if they have that, of course. And that's how you beat spells when they're cast on you. And then there's some examples here of how to play the tests with your ability tests, your basic test difficulties, and you're going to have a target number to go up. So very easy, especially if you're coming from D&D. Now let's talk about the best thing about the game. And it's the first thing that you'll start messing with, and you'll be like, oh, this is different. And for me and my group, we were like, this is awesome. I'm loving this. Okay, so when you're making attacks and you're casting spells, you roll 3d6, and as you can see, one of them is a different color, and that's the dragon die. So when you make your attack, what you do, and this is a perfect example, and it's a bad roll because it's a 7. It's probably not going to hit anybody, but let's just say that this was a 5, and I needed an 11 to hit somebody. What you do is, you've rolled doubles, and it doesn't matter if it's the dragon die and one of the die, or the other dice, or the other dice, just whichever. If 2 of these dice are doubles, then you get stunt points, and you get the amount of stunt points equal to the dragon die. So I've got 5 stunt points, and so what you can do is you can then look at this standard stunt list, and you can say, oh cool, I'm going to spend 2 points, and I'm going to inflict another d6 of damage, but first I'm going to pierce armor. So I want to halve the armor of my foe, do an extra d6, I've got 1 point left, and I will move them back 2 yards. As it says you can move yourself or a target. I'll move myself back 2 yards after I do that. And you can do that for each stunt point that you spend. So it's very cool, but it's very fun for players. It can lead to some chaotic stuff where you're knocking people down, you're attacking twice, and there is some choice kind of paralyzation where it can slow the game down, but it'll get faster as you play. And you're like, okay, I'm going to disarm them, I'm going to use defensive stance, I want to seize initiative where I go back at the top of the initiative order. I'm going to lightning strike and get a second attack against them. It's fun. It's fun to all of a sudden play a game where you have these choices and it's baked into the game. I enjoyed them. My players enjoyed them as well. But it did lead to some moments of like, what should I do? But then we started finding our groove, knocking people prone. So there is some slight, almost I would say like a Three Stooges type factor where people are getting knocked down, they're being picked up, they're running around, they're hitting, they're pushing people back, they're reloading their weapon real quick. But it makes for some fun, exciting stuff to happen. And one thing that's really great is that it's also for spells. So we've got standard spell stunts. So when you're casting a spell and you've rolled doubles, look, I did it right there. So I got 2 spell points. I can go, okay, skill for casting. Reduce the mana cost of this spell by 1. This can reduce the mana cost to 0. Fantastic. You'll be using that a lot to be able to hold on to your mana. Mighty spell, if it does damage, One target of the spell of your choice takes an extra d6 damage. It's fantastic. It's just really fun to all of a sudden have those choices, and they have to be used right then and there. So obviously the better you roll 3 6s, you're gonna have 6 here. That's, well, shoot, let's say that you've got a 4 and a 4. You've got 6 points to spend. Oh, sweet. I'm gonna do fast casting, and then I'm gonna do a mighty spell. Great, you know? It just lets it be more exciting. So then you got the character sheet there. And then the Game Master's Guide is gonna have everything you need to how to play the game. Again, very new player friendly, explaining a lot of stuff, how to play the game, how to do game notes, whiteboards, use miniatures, easy rules for miniatures. Pretty much a square is 2 yards, and that's all you need pretty much if you want to use miniatures in your game. How to deal with certain type of players. What's the deal about dark fantasy, like it says here, no unicorns and rainbows, life isn't fair, sometimes evil wears a smile, and then do's and don'ts of GM. So again, very basic stuff. Mastering the ability skill tests, how to deal with flying combatants. Here's adversaries. So you've got, here's monsters. And one thing that's cool is they had favored stunts. So it shows you what stunt, like this Bronto here, it normally uses Mighty Blow and Pierce Armor. Now, it doesn't have to, but it allows you to use the stunt points that they generate when they're attacking you to give them, the creative feel of what that creature does when it attacks. And it's very easy stat blocks as well. You've got your speed, your health, the defense. There's an armor rating of 3. Again, that's going to take away from your attack when you do damage. Attack, roll, and damage. It's easy. You've got your abilities, and with whatever focuses you have, like this has got stamina, and it's got scene, gore, and might. So, very easy. So a lot of good creatures here. And this is all in this first box set. So for me, it was exactly what I needed. It was great. I was like, I get a lot of play out of this. Having to deal with experience points, treasures, magical items. Here's a couple of temporary and permanent ones. And then there's an adventure here in the back again. So that's also very helpful. As you can see, some great art by my buddy Jerry Blando. And he's done a great job throughout this. So as you can see, it goes on. And it's got your NPCs and so on. And it's got your index. So that is the first box set. Now, so what happened after I did all this? So I got the first box set, and they put out a second box set. Well, I just wasn't ready for the second box set. And they put out a third, and I happened to find this actually quite later on, after the game had already been out of production. And I'm just going to look through it. It's for levels 11 to 20. So obviously the other one is 5 to 10. And a little bit different stock here on the cover, but very meaty. A lot more information here, because obviously going from 11 to 20. It's got your new class powers for 11 to 20 for your different classes, different focuses and talents. Also things such as specializations. So now you can become like a marksman, you can become a keeper, a guardian, a ranger. Very cool stuff. A shadow, a shapeshifter. Some more stuff here about equipment. And so they were just really good box sets. And of course, I'm kicking myself for not picking up the second one. It's obviously very hard to find now. And they also have advanced spell stunts. So you can get this optional talent, spell expertise. And once you get it, you can start using these advanced spell stunts. And then the different types, like creation spells, you unlock their own spell stunts. And this is an optional thing where you can either use or not use, depending on how deep you want this game to go, as it can be a lot to look up. Obviously, there's going to be new spells, and this is pretty much the same for every box set. More information about playing the game, simple goals that you may have, like discover my missing father, avenge my family. Again, these are just suggestions to help you out. Organizations, and you can see that that's obviously a big part of what Dragon Age is about. Mass battles, how to do those, and plots, and then a bit of example there, sample organizations, and then the Game Master's Guide. And you can see here, it's going to have more information about the world, more creatures for your game, and each of these box sets are great. And I'm a big fan. And there again, it's about the battle rules, raising an army, and followers and stuff. I think there's an adventure back here. Yeah, Battle's Edge. And then they put out the Game Master's Kit Revised, and it has, yet again, another adventure, this one in color now. That's very helpful. Big old adventure. Look at this thing. Fantastic. You can get a lot of play out of that. And then this is the new revised screen that, of course, helped with the new information they had from the different box sets. It's not as bright, but it has more information. It has all the combat stunts, because some of these weren't here. And it's got a good look to it once again. I'll show you the way that this looks here. Pretty cool. I like that a lot with a lot of the characters there. And then they actually put out some, instead of me having to print stuff off, they actually had these handouts that are very useful for the combat stunts, different actions, what's major and what's minor, the focuses. It looks like a lot, but it really, really isn't. In my opinion, it's one of the more easier games to play, to teach, to learn. And here's a combat tracker too, and that's like dry erase or something to keep track of stuff. And then I think this is the one that actually came in the box here. Well, the reason I didn't get the second box is because I knew I was going to get what's next, and that is the main core book. So what they did is they put all three of these box sets together, in essence, and then they fleshed out a lot more, tons more. And this is really the meat of what you need. Now, this, I got lucky enough to get the ultimate version of the core rule book. Let me just make sure you can see that good. It's pretty big. All right, this seems pretty framed up. And here it is. So the normal book had this cover, but this is the ultimate version. I think it was $100, and it's got this great faux leather cover and silver pages, as well as a ribbon in it, ribbon bookmark, and I think it looks fantastic. Make sure you can see that nice. So this is it. And the thing about Dragon Age 2 is they've put out another book. They put out like an adventure. They put out The Faces of Thedas, which is a bunch of NPCs, people you know from the game. And I don't have that book. I got some PDFs, and you can get those on ttrpg as well, the PDFs of those. But this thing here is just a beauty, and it's a massive book. They've done a lot of work on it, and I'll give Green Ronin that. I'm not a huge fan of Green Ronin, but they knocked it out of the park with this game. And I know that they have the fantasy version of this that you can just play with, just, you know, vanilla fantasy. But I don't really need that. This is my first introduction to the game, the system, and it's got that Dragon Age setting go with it. I don't know why I'd want to play anything else. I mean, the system is fun, but why don't I just play Dragon Age since I like it? So great map here, and this is pretty much the same. Even though it's got this nice cover and the slipcase, the insides are pretty much the same. I believe they're all the same. So I'm not going to go through all of it. It's 440 pages. It's a beast. It's a beautiful, beautiful beast. It's not perfect, but it's really, really good. And it has got a ton of words. It is written very well. You can see some repeat art. That's actually the cover for the second set, box set right there. And that's fine. I mean, use that art. So you're going to see right off the bat, there's a lot more backgrounds. Different ways to roll up your character. Maybe arranging abilities or buying abilities. But you've got the Ander Survivor. You can see the ones that you've seen before. And look at all these choices you have now when making a character. And this is just the backgrounds. You got the Freelden Freeman, the Free Marcher, Lowborn Dwarf, Highborn Dwarf, Navarian Adventurer, Orlesian Commoner, or Orlesian, I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that. Look at all this, it just keeps going. It is absolutely a beast of a game. And it almost seems like one of those things where, I don't know if they knew that they weren't gonna be able to put out a whole bunch of products for this, but they were like, you know, let's just do pretty much the kitchen sink and give them everything they need in case we don't have this license or we can't make new products for it down the road. And I'm not aware of what the licensing deal is with Dragon Age, with Green Ronin and these products. They may just be able to sell the PDFs and that's it, but I wish they would at least reprint the box sets, if not make the box sets into a book that people can buy. And then obviously it's going to have you be able to go up to level 20. So you don't really need those 3 box sets, but they're fun. They've got a lot of cool stuff in it. They've got adventures. They're an easy way to progress through learning how to play the game. And I still think they have a lot of value to them. So here's the mage, and you can see it has all 20 levels of what happens when you go up in level. There's the rogue. I like that art. And there's the warrior. Like I said, I'm going to have to jump through a lot. And some of it is the same. You can see this exactly the same as it was for the first set's section here. They toned down the reds a little bit, which I think is fine. They've got some name samples here if you want to try to help name your character. And then it goes into playing the game. Now this is some of the strangeness that it has in it. So it's going to tell you how to do it. Ability test, the dragon die, the stunt points. And then it goes right into a section on combat. Your major actions, your minor actions, making attacks. And I'm like, okay, it's got information you need on using battle maps. That's very helpful. The combat stunts, and this is going to be all of them. It's got all the, but then all of a sudden you're like, why does it have focuses, talents, and specializations here? I feel like this section should be before the combat, because you're still making your character. But I don't know if they wanted you to flip around to learn about how the game is and how you play it before you make some more choices about your character. It's a little strange, I think. I wish that the combat section was actually after this, because you're going to have all these different talents now to go through, and you've already passed combat. So a little bit of an interesting choice. And then the specializations, again, some great artwork, and it just looks great. It's a very good looking book. There is Grey Wardens that you can play in as them, and that's going to be more of a story driven thing. Then you're going to have all your gear. Now, one thing I want to say that I really enjoyed is this normal traveling and adventuring equipment. They give you a ton of it, and you know what a lantern is, and you know what some of these things are, like a candle, but it still gives you a description of what they are. That's very helpful. It doesn't really skimp on stuff. Carrying and storage, a very good section. That's one thing I'll say is this book has some sections where they could have really, I don't know, phoned it in, and they really fleshed it out, and it really shows. Even here on clothes and fashion, like I said, I had the feeling they knew that they weren't going to be able to do a whole bunch more, and they wanted to give you everything. So we're still in it, like equipment. Here's home and hearth, food and lodgings. And if you love Dragon Age and you really enjoy the game, I mean, this book is just fantastic in that regard. And then like poisons, like learning poisons, preparing poisons. Poisons, of course, is a pretty good part in playing the video game, but they did a great job at this, using grenades. Here's some poisons you can use. And then there's a section here on traps. Setting a trap, like what type damage do you want to create with your trap? I want to damage, I want to be 2d6. Well, here's the target number. This is the cost of the materials. But what if I want it to have additional effects? What if I want it to be convoluted, where it's difficult to disarm? Well, it's going to lower your dice of damage by 2d6, so it needs to be even stronger than that. Or maybe it has a wide effect, or it knocks people prone. Very interesting that they really fleshed out something that I just don't see given that much love in other games. And then it's going to go into magic. So you're going to have a lot of stuff. And of course, they've got a lot of room now to tell you more about the organizations and how Dragon Age world works with magic. And again, you've got casting and armor, and now you've got your spell stunts, and you've got a whole ton of spells. Having those 3 box sets pretty much put into one book is just a huge feat here. As you can see, you've got tons of spells to pick from. Now, one thing that's a little bit difficult, it is in alphabetical order, which is helpful, but you will have some requirements where you need heal. So you're might have to jump back. If you want to try to shape your character in any way and say, well, this is what I want to get, you're going to do some flip-flopping around. That's not great. It would have been nice to have something maybe after the spell section that has a table and shows you what is required of each spell, and kind of like a cheat sheet, really. That would have been really helpful. I'm certain you can make that your own, or somebody online maybe has made it. So there's blood magic, of course. And then here's a section on advanced role-playing. Now, they've added exploration stunts and role-playing stunts. And these are optional, but very fun for when you're exploring stuff, when you roll for your rolls to try to find stuff. Maybe you get a stunt that goes off with your dragon die if you roll doubles. Very cool. And then character goals. And since they had tons of room here with this big book, they just really fleshed it all out. A lot of ready-to-use goals. Here's the section on organizations. Here is plot stunts, organization misfortune table, growth of the organization, sample organizations, and then we're going to get into welcome section to the world of Thedas. And so this is going to be a lot of, if you want to learn a lot about Dragon Age, this is going to be it. I'm going to tell you everything you really need to know about what's going on. And again, I think the art looks great. I didn't see any pieces that look weird. So we're just going to keep going here. It's going to tell you all about the different people and the different places. Here's Orzammar. I'm very familiar with it. All about the dwarves. You can see you just really get your money's worth out of this if you like Dragon Age. Of course, religion and the chantry is a big deal with the Maker in Dragon Age. Dwarven beliefs, Quinari beliefs, and then you've got your Game Master Guide. So that's for the players. And then you've got this, the art of being a Game Master. Again, some of those other things that they talked about in the box sets, spell cards, game notes, things like that. But then it really gives you a great, I wouldn't even say a primer. This is a thorough, exploration of being a GM. It's very, very helpful. Again, more of those rules about, how to do opposed tests, how to deal with hazards, designing encounters, combat encounters. Very helpful, I think, if you are new to role-playing, how to deal with mass battles. It's a lot of stuff. If you take it, section by section, there's the Battle of Ostagar. Here's the ribbon, which I keep folded because I don't want to see it poking out. How to run campaigns. Look how much left of the book there is. Very enjoyable. There's that art from that first screen. A lot of history here. Epic campaigns. And it goes on and on and on. Secrets. The Grey Wardens. We know all about them. Yeah, I mean, it's the Fade, and then you've got the Adversaries, and of course this section is very meaty. They've broken it up by different types of creatures and people and stuff you'll come across, like beasts. Here's some spiders, horses, darkspawn, of course, are going to be a big deal. Your different types of darkspawn, and whether or not they are you'll see down here, a major or a moderate threat. It says like moderate alone and major with allies. So it's a little bit of a challenge rating, I guess, if you will, for how to judge the the difficulty of encounters with these creatures. Very, very helpful. Dragons, of course. Small ones, little ones, big ones, old ones. Evil spirits and possessed corpse. Shades, of course. Desire demons. Everything you need. It's just great. And then so they had a section in the front about leveling up, and then they've got it again. It's a little bit more in depth here because it's the GM section, but you may be looking for it. You may see it here and then think, why is this way back here, when they actually had it in the beginning, and vice versa. So you have to kind of get used to where stuff is in this book. It's not perfect, but I understand that they needed to add a little bit more to the back for the Game Master section, because it does deal with plots, titles. You can get different titles that actually, some of them actually give you benefits, like Defender of the Weak. Gives you a +3 bonus when seeking the aid and comfort of those they would defend. There's different titles here from the different type of organizations. Here's some minions, in essence, henchmen for your game, for your group. Treasure, of course, a much bigger section now on the raw materials for making weapons and armor. If you make them out of iron, steel, ash, white wood, iron bark, and how those help you. Temporary magic items, how much they cost, very helpful. Permanent magical items, they've got runes. They give you focuses sometimes. They give you talent bonuses. They can give you attack and or damage bonuses. So you can see a very good selection there. How to do runes, and of course, if you want to create those and add those into your weapons and armor, very great. And then the back of the book right here, this is 3 full adventures. And I think they really went, that's a lot. And they're not little adventures either. They are very big, full fleshed out adventures that I think you could easily have paid, singularly for them, maybe 10, 12 bucks to get them by themselves. And then at the back is a gameplay reference. This is going to have all your charts, everything you need, all your tables, as you can see, your stunts, weapons, anything you need. That's pretty much a table that's going to be helpful. All the different types of stunts here. And of course, the screen is going to help too. A very good index, character sheets, the initiative card. You can get these all online, of course. mass battle. And then it gives you, again, another map you can fold out that's got the world on it. So there is Dragon Age. So like I said, if you like Dragon Age and you would like to play a role-playing game of it, you should check it out. Just to reiterate myself, I think that it's almost a crime that I don't see much about this game at all. And of course I know it's out of print, it's a little older, but, and they do have their fantasy version of the game, they're kind of vanilla fantasy. But this is a good game. It's fun. It's got, you know, you if you really want to, you know, ramp up the world building that Dragon Age has, you know, the different politics of Ferelden or whatever is going on, the Grey Wardens, the dragons, the Darkspawn, it's there for you. You don't have to. The adventures themselves have got a lot of that information in there, you know, when it comes to the NPCs and stuff. But, so you don't have to fully digest everything Dragon Age world. You can just, you know, play the adventures, check out the cool system with the stunts, and your players will get faster at using the stunts and knowing which ones they like. It's very easy to run. I had no problem running the game whatsoever. An easy target number, a fun 3d6 system. It's just a shame that this game has not, they didn't reprint more of the box sets. They're not available. This book's not available. You know, you can search for them on eBay and maybe pray. I don't know what the prices are. You know, you can still possibly get the core book on Amazon. You know, you're on the hunt now, and we've all pretty much been on that role-playing game hunt. But criminally, I think, overlooked, underrated game that's really well made with a great world that if you like the video games, you know, they've done a great job at putting that in the role-playing game. So I know this has been a long video. I knew it would probably be my longest, but I didn't want to sparse this out with a whole bunch of different videos. Just give you all that's there. I'll have all the links to drive-thru-RPG. Let's all hope that they'll make print-on-demand versions of this game, because you know, if you were to grab this book, if you had the main book or the PDF, and you know, you were away somewhere for like a month or two with a bunch of buddies in a cabin, man, you'd have a ton of fun with this. And you know, it's just a shame that it is what it is, and that sometimes happens with games. So there it is, Dragon Age. Hope you like this video. Let me know if you like Dragon Age. I know you guys do. There's people out there that really love it. If you don't like it, let me know why. Just to, you know, we'll shoot the shit and see, you know, what's the problem with it. But I know it's much beloved. I love it, and the game is also very, very good. So check it out. At least check out the quick start. You know, that's free on drive-thru-RPG if you want to try to play the game. A one-night session of this is great. And in essence, I've played a lot of one-nights, you know, one-shots of this to introduce people to the system, and they really dug it. So there it is. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and check out the game. Thanks.